inspired your journey from chemistry to English learning?
The answer is very simple that I was always an English person at heart when I was growing up in class 2, 3, 4, I don't remember.
One thing you always forget.
I don't forget anything. I only forget if I want to forget.
Any dialogue you want to share with us?
इस यूं तो मुझे ज़्यादा बात करने की आदत है नहीं.
Your favorite junk food?
My favorite junk food is a strange junk food which is a sub salad with mayo and honey onion.
If you could replace your name for a day, what would it be?
My name Shivani is after our authoress Gaura Pant, Shivani. Right? So I would want my name to be Gaura.
If you had to rename coffee?
Survival.
Survival. Welcome to the Voice of Leadership podcast. Today we have a guest who wears many hats. She is an educator, a teacher trainer, a curriculum designer, an editor, and a mentor to thousands of educators across the country. She is someone who believes that teachers just don't teach, they transform, they inspire, and they lead. Please welcome Ms. Shivani Gupta to this show.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure, ma'am, that we are going to have a conversation with you. And it's actually like I'm super excited to know more about you. So I think we all are excited here to know about her lifestyle, the kind of, the changes, the transformation has been happening in her life from chemistry to English, from, being an educator to curriculum designer. And that's also impactful. So I think, we should know more about her. So without wasting time, let's get started. Ma'am, my first question for you is, if you had to summarize your 24 years of experience of education in one sentence, what would it be?
So, my 24 years of experience in one sentence, yeah, it's a long way. So it's learning, applying, reviewing, and once again learning, relearning.
Wow.
I wouldn't say unlearning. This is the buzzword. Learning, unlearning. There is nothing like unlearning for me. Because once you learn, it's difficult to unlearn. It's like relearning and reviewing. One reviews the learnings, whether they are relevant for the times or not, and then relearning. So, yes, that's how I put it. Learning, applying, reviewing, and relearning.
Wow, that's commendable. You work with teachers and principals. So who is harder to train?
Oh, yes, Amita, this is such a tricky question. I mean, at the risk of sounding absolutely politically incorrect, I would say principles are harder to train.
Okay.
For the simple reason that the smarter you become, the more fixed ideas you carry because you feel that you know all or you know most of the things. And sometimes we get trapped in the bias of thought that we did not learn anymore and what we know is the best. So teachers at times, or rather most of the teachers are very open to learning. Principals are more difficult to learn, teach or
Okay.
train, or they review their ideas with a lot of difficulty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's very well said, because I think sometimes when you mature, when you have a lot of experience, so you fixate your mind that you don't want to learn more or you know everything. So I think you said it very rightly, very very rightly.
Uh, but at the same time, having said that, I found many principals who are very open to reviewing their ideas, and they understand that being a school leader or academic leader is not my word is the final word, but there's constantly room to review, relearn, and take inputs from their team or understand the practices that need to be put into place in 21st century and not carry on the ideas that maybe they had when they started. So yes, it has always been a mixed bag of experience, but if I have to put it in black and white, principles are more difficult to train.
Okay. What's your favorite way to teach vocabulary without rote learning?
Having been an English teacher for good 12, 14 years, what I've realized is there's no puria to just eat and you'll be good at vocabulary. And let's accept it, children
Yes.
don't read anymore
Yeah.
as much as we would want them to. So, what I've realized is teaching vocabulary happens as practicing happens. So, the best way to teach vocabulary is one, to incentivize use of good vocabulary in the classroom.
Okay.
So, when you encourage children to use good vocabulary, incentivize, appreciate any child who is trying to hang, get a hang of good vocabulary, that's an encouragement. Another is inspire through your own vocabulary. Use good vocabulary in the classroom, which inspires children to gain more. Inspire them, make them understand that having a good vocabulary is a skill. And at the same time, I would say that since I'm a communications trainer now, I have realized that the more you tell the children that this is a skill that is going to come in handy in their workplace, connected with the real life, it works. So, vocabulary is not you give them a list of 100 words to cram and start using. No, it's a very here and now thing.
Yeah.
It's a very real tool to communicate.
Hmm.
So, why not have a good vocabulary? So, that's how vocabulary can work. And of course, reading newspapers or texts or articles that are good. A teacher constantly must suggest to her students. And the first step is she herself has to start reading.
Yeah, absolutely right. I think that's really, really nice answer you have given, that incentivizing. And I mean, you need to appreciate the children if they are speaking, if they are using good vocabulary. So I think most of us, including me also, like I read a lot, but sometimes when it comes to using a good vocabulary, maybe sometimes I get into the dilemma whether the other person is going to get my point or not, if I'm going to use a very difficult word or not. So that also, makes me, fall back to original simple language. So
I'll stop you here.
yeah.
Good vocabulary just never means difficult or flowery language.
Okay.
Good vocabulary is using the right word to express the thought or emotion that is in your mind. And the right word could be as lame as, I'm feeling good today. You need not find some big sounding, great sounding word for the word good. So, when you have the right word to express what you want to express, that's good vocabulary.
Okay.
When you are not repeating your words or just latching on to a few words, that's good vocabulary. When you have a plethora of words to choose from in your arsenal of vocabulary, that's good vocabulary. So, good vocabulary definitely is not some high sounding words which a layman wouldn't understand. Good vocabulary is finding the right word to express the thing that is in your mind.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and this is a misconception that many people carry, that good vocabulary means using high sounding words for which everyone has to move around with a dictionary.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen that way. Just have a grip on words to choose from.
Yeah.
Right?
Even simple words, but if they are being used in a very nice way where the meaning is crystal clear.
Absolutely.
So that's very mandatory.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. What's more tragic, Hamlet's life or someone running out of Wi-Fi while submitting an assignment?
See, even as I would want to say here and now, Hamlet's life was more tragic. And I've
Okay.
given my mind to this. The tragedies of today are very, very existential. Or not even, Hamlet's was in fact existential because it was a moral ethical dilemma that he was facing. Now, where is the moral ethical dilemma if a Wi Fi runs out? At every nook and corner, you have a Wi Fi. If your Wi Fi runs out, you can sync your laptop to your phone, 4G or 5G. So, yes, as children, they've got to be resourceful. And I'll tell you, Amita, resourcefulness is another skill that needs to be taught to our children. The road is never smooth, but resources are available everywhere to tap upon. So it would be tragic, definitely, if a child sits just because Wi Fi has run out without using her mind that I've got a 4G to sync my laptop with. It's tragic. But the real tragedy definitely is Hamlet's, because it was more of moral ethical dilemma that he grappled with.
Yeah. Okay. If William Wordsworth was alive today, would he be writing poetry or Instagram captions about nature?
I think he would be writing poetry
Okay.
because since ages,
Hmm.
poetry writing requires solitude, being with oneself and being with nature. Instagram, Wi Fi, internet has got nothing to do with writing poetry. And of course, Instagram captions, even
About
as they sound,
nature.
yeah, they can be generated a dime a dozen on AI these days.
Yeah.
And there's a whole different logic to it. Like they've got to be eye catching, they have got to be a clickbait, and so on and so forth. So, no, definitely, I would save my William Wordsworth for poetry.
Okay. So, William Wordsworth, here is a genuine lover for you who
Absolutely.
still respects your poetry, including me also.
Yes. Yes.
But I like William Blake's poetry a lot.
Absolutely. William Blake is amazing.
Yeah.
The Solitary Reaper
Yeah. The
and
tiger, the chimney
Tiger,
sweeper.
Chimney Sweeper.
I mean, amazing.
Solitary Reaper is William Blake or
No,
William
no, no.
Wordsworth?
William
He's William
Wordsworth.
Wordsworth. Tiger, Tiger is my favorite
Yeah.
one. Tiger. In fact, would you believe it was my first introduction to naturalistic poetry?
Okay.
Yes. And the word poetic liberty, because tiger is spelled as Tygre.
Yeah.
Tiger, tiger, burning bright. So I said it's spelled wrong. When I read it in my literature reader, I don't know, in class 6 or 7th, I said it's spelled wrong. And I went to my English teacher. I said, ma'am, the book has a misspelling. She said, no, it's got to be spelled like this. And this is the poetic liberty that the poet has taken. That was my first. And I'm from the time where we didn't have the luxury of
Yeah.
Googling things.
Yeah.
We needed to go to library to
Yeah,
find
to
stuff.
find out, yeah.
Yes, so yes, Songs of Innocence, the whole
Amazing.
collection is beautiful.
You made me recall all those books and all this because I also did English honors.
Oh,
so
that's great.
why.
Wow.
So you know that beautification and everything. I mean, it's always alive in my heart. Like it's always there. I think the generation has gone. I mean, we are definitely far behind the new generation, but still that the love for the books, the love for literature, poetry, different poems. So I think that's still there in mind, and I can recall with your statements that, and this is the beautiful word you have just chosen. This is the poetic liberty.
Absolutely.
So amazing.
Absolutely, yes. Yes.
Okay. If Robert Frost had written The Road Not Taken while stuck in traffic these days, how would the poem go?
So I think had Robert Frost written The Road Not Taken, it would still hold true the other way around in reverse. Because sitting in the traffic, he would have lamented that he should have taken another road, or for that matter, another vehicle altogether. He
Okay.
would have contemplated using public transport.
Okay.
And you know what? Because as I said, it would have been twisted. He would have lamented, why did not I take the road that nobody was taking? But if you talk about roads, and especially Delhi roads, it's perilous to take a road that everybody is not taking because maybe the road ends up somewhere. And so that is why others are not taking. Because in a traffic, people must have tried that road and realized that it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So it would not have been the road not taken, it would have been the vehicle not taken.
Vehicle not taken. Okay. If a teacher has only 10 minutes to improve student engagement, what would they do?
Yes, if I talk about student engagement, you know what? Most teachers get into much gimmickry
Okay.
talking about student engagement. Now, you know what? I'm giving my mind to all the AV support and all that these days are mandated into classrooms, at least in private schools. Now, what is an audiovisual device or a smart board? It's a television.
Yeah.
So, student engagement completely and solely rests on the teacher. And 10 minutes, 5 minutes, half an hour. Student engagement, according to me, comes by asking meaningful questions.
Right.
When the children are inspired, forced, driven to think, I'll ask you one question. Why do we enjoy KBC so much? because it has just the right level of questions which you feel that you will be able to answer. But you are required to exercise your thinking as well.
Yes.
You are required to connect the dots where I had heard about this, something related to this, and so you find it hugely engaging. Similarly, when the teacher brings in just the right level questions to inspire or to instill that sense of curiosity in the kids, they feel engaged. And still, I believe that true teaching only happens between a student and a teacher. A good teacher doesn't need a textbook, she doesn't need a smart board. They are all add-ons. But the real teaching learning process only requires a teacher and a willing student. In fact, a willing teacher also.
So it has to be a two-way lane or a two-way communication. It doesn't mean that a teacher is speaking,
No,
and the
not.
child, they'll never get interested in what the teacher is talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good questions engage children. Good
Right.
questions engage children. Questions which involve processes of thinking processes, mental processes, not those rote kind of questions that we are so happy asking,
Yeah.
the knowledge and comprehension questions. Just let's rise above it and ask better questions from our children so that they think and feel engaged and invested in their studies or learning or education. And this by no means is alluding to schooling. Schooling is different, learning and education is different. And the teacher must understand that.
Interesting. Okay. What inspired your journey from chemistry to English learning?
Yes, even as I want to give a very high sounding answer, the answer is very simple that I was always an English person at heart when I was growing up in class 2, 3, 4, I don't remember. Because at that time also I was doing a lot of reading. In fact, precocious reading. I still remember I had somebody coming to my house and books were lying, and that person told my father, I hope your daughters are not reading these books because they are bad influence on them. They are much higher for them. So my father said, yeah, they are not. And I was looking at my father that he's going to tell me not to read them, but then we dismissed it. So I was a reader and I was an English person. But since I was very hardworking and I had cracked the code to score marks, I was scoring high marks,
Okay.
very high marks. But I am from the time when scoring high marks translated into taking science. So I took science in plus 2, then I did BSc, then I did MSc, and I went about becoming a chemistry teacher.
Okay.
I still remember having a chemistry book in one hand during examinations, and in the other hand, there would be some or the other book, novel, or some philosophical treatise, Shakespeare at hand. The moment I'm tired, I'll go back to reading this and then I'll freshen up and go back to preparing for the exam. So I continued with science and I taught for some 10, 12 years chemistry. But one fine day I'd had enough.
Oh.
And so I was an English teacher in the making right from junior classes. But mine was a time when scoring marks translated to taking science.
Okay.
And finally, I gravitated to being an English teacher. I then went ahead and did master's, creative writing course, and so on and so forth.
What an inspiring journey you have had.
I always tell, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I always tell everyone that the moment you realize that this is the journey I don't want to take, stop and change track.
Change the track.
And there are opportunities if you really want to change track and you're passionate about it. There are opportunities.
That gave me goosebumps. Like, very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I also look back and find it very interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
I find
chemistry is altogether
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. I find it interesting that I continued with science for good, what, 15, 18 years of my life. Why? Why? So that's it.
Okay. What role does, storytelling play in creative writing?
Right? I mean, stories are everywhere. This is a story I just told you.
Yeah.
So, storytelling is something we connect with, we identify it with. Children identify. So, storytelling, whether you talk about creative writing, of course, creative writing is storytelling, but even in teaching, pedagogy, stories are all around. And teacher must weave her content in a manner that children find engaging, that children can identify it. It's a story. And many teachers have started practicing the skill of storytelling to make their classes more engaging. Because there are connections when you tell a story, there are emotions when you tell a story, there's the human element when you tell a story. And story by no means is what we read like a protagonist. Story is anything that make more humane, that you imbue with emotions, the real episodes, which children can identify with. And of course, creative writing is entirely storytelling.
That's interesting. Okay, English is a foundation for communication. So, what do you think makes books like Hello English and My Green Book of English stand out from other English books? What's your say on that?
Yes. So, Amita, having gone through these books, I realized that there are many USPs to these books. They are, I think, they are developed understanding the psychology of the student very well. So, the content chosen is beautiful. I mean, it's mapped with the psychology of the children, what they would want to understand, the current times, they are relevant. So, the content chosen is very relevant. The vocabulary is the language, the vocabulary, the exercises, they are all very good. Coming to the structure, packaging, presentation, the font is beautiful, the illustrations are great, the presentation style is beautiful and inviting. So the books are really very well developed. If I compare them with many more books, I feel that in certain other books, the attempt is to cram the book with a very high sounding content, or anything that's literary or classic, and it's there, irrespective whether it is appropriate for that grade level or not. I've seen that these books, the books uh, which we are talking about, they are mapped very well with the grade level. The content chosen is very balanced, inviting, appropriate. So they are amazing books. They are very good books.
Okay. And these days, I think, the trend of book writing. So that's happening these days. So online book writing platforms and, children, they are also curious to know more about it. So do you have any suggestions for the school children that they should also start writing books at a young age? And what kind of platforms would you suggest for that?
I'll tell you something. Just now we talked about storytelling, and mine was a time when children wrote, they were made to feel very self conscious.
Yeah.
I say, let children write.
Okay.
Because when I'm even talking about, I also talk about mindfulness, mental health, and all, and I've realized journaling is one good practice that I encourage children to do. So, journaling is what? Expressing your thoughts. Same goes for storytelling or writing books, expressing yourself. So, I'm all for children writing, encouraging them to write. And, you know, present times give so much opportunity to children who are inclined towards writing, howsoever, whatsoever,
Yeah.
anything under the sun. And there are so many. I think one of your platforms is Bookalooza,
Yes.
which is a good platform to encourage children to present their ideas. I think it's very self guiding and
Yeah.
very user friendly. I'd browsed it once and I had realized that there are lots of suggestions also
Yes,
for
yes.
children to write in various genres, and it
Yeah.
publishes
Yeah.
online
Templates, then there
templates
are
that yes.
proofreading services, then you can list it on Amazon, Flipkart also.
Yes. So I have realized that it's a big achievement for children when their book gets published. And I've in fact, one of my students was such a quiet, shy girl, and when she used this platform and her book got published, I could see a change in her.
Wow.
Something shifted. She
Yeah.
found her calling, or she found meaning into what she was doing. So, yes, I think Bookalooza is also doing some great work in the field of online publishing for children and encouraging that writer in them. So, it's something very commendable. I'm all for it.
Okay. So, to all our viewers, you can also check out the website of Bookalooza, and the name of URL of the website is www.bookalooza.com. Just explore, let your child explore the platform and spark his creativity. You never know, if a child has got a story, it's the best platform where they can publish their story. So, do check out this platform. Okay. If teachers had superpowers, what would be yours?
Mine, you know what? Everyone should have only one superpower.
Okay.
And that one superpower, rather two, and both start with L.
N.
L.
L.
Yes, of course, love is a superpower which starts with L, but the two superpowers for educators, including myself, one is listening.
Okay.
Because I'm a communications trainer, so listening is a superpower that everyone must cultivate, possess, grab, and especially teachers because they need to listen to their children. The more we listen, the more we understand, the more we learn. The second superpower is learning, constant learning. How can we expect our children to learn if we are reluctant to learn? So I found these two superpowers for myself decades ago, listening and learning. And they've stood me in good times. All my flight, all my chartering of new terrains has been through these two superpowers, listening and learning.
Amazing. Okay. Okay. What's the longest word you can actually spell?
Longest word I can actually spell. Hippopotamus?
Yeah, please.
H. Okay, you want me to
Yeah,
spell
yeah,
as
yeah,
well?
yeah.
Hippopotamus.
Yes.
Hippopotamus.
Yeah.
I don't think I can spell rhinoceros. Or
Yeah.
something like that.
Spell.
Rhinocese. I don't know. I actually have to write and
Rhineer.
rhinoceros. Yeah. Roceros. So yeah, I don't think I know any longer words than these. But of course, if I recall, chemistry had some very long names of chemicals, those methyl, acetaldehyde. So those were long words we used to practice
Okay.
at one point in time.
So there is a place called, I don't know, Czechoslovakia,
Ah,
something like that. I
yeah.
think it's also very long word.
Yes, CZEKLOSOVA.
VIA.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah, something like that. Tongue
Okay.
twisters they are. And you know what? I can spell words. Some words I can spell not from memory, but from visual memory. So when I write them, I would write them right. Because I've not participated in that spell bee, that I've got to spell it out by memory. But when I write, I would write them right.
Huh.
If I'm spelling them, because they've gone into that functional memory somewhere.
Ah.
So when I write, they would come out right. When I'm spelling them orally, I would fumble.
Okay.
I think it happens with old people who were into
Yeah.
those long handwriting.
You are not old. You are not old. You have just won my heart. You have mesmerized me.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
If aliens visited Earth and asked you to explain sarcasm, how would you do it?
Yes. So, you know what? Since there is a theory that we human beings have come up through some alien. एक तो theory है natural creation, evolution and all, but एक theory और है alien birth theory or something like that. So if aliens visited, मैं कहूँगी अभी हम humans ने अपने को खत्म नहीं किया है 50 साल बाद आएगा, you'll get the opportunity to start all over again. So yeah, it's ironic and sarcastic. So I'll just tell them that we've not annihilated ourselves as yet. Come after 50 years.
Okay, he'll go back. Okay. If Shakespeare had a Twitter account, what would his bio say?
Twitter, you know what, Amita? I'm so sorry to say I don't do Twitter. I don't understand Twitter. But I'm not sure bio account में क्या लिखते हैं. But yes, I think he would write, I'm a wordsmith.
Yeah.
And I mesmerize with my words and I can weave words to win your heart or something like that.
Okay.
Maybe it could be like that.
Interesting bio. Okay.
Yes. He will write something about
Yeah.
his writing skills. So yeah,
Yeah. Or
I
something
win your
like,
heart. Yeah.
yeah, all the world is a stage, something like that.
Absolutely.
All
Yes,
the
yes,
world
yes,
is a
yes. All
stage.
the world. Right?
Is a stage.
And I would tell him head to Brutus. Okay, you are also on Twitter.
What a tiny word with too much power.
Yes, I thought about it for myself as well. A tiny word with too much power is no.
Wow.
We should have the capacity to say no to things that we don't want.
Okay.
Others should value the word no. So, no is such a strong word for us as individuals. No to the things we don't want in life, to have the willpower to say no to the things that are damaging. And this tiny word is so important for students also. No opens doors. Now, it might sound counterintuitive.
Yes.
No opens doors. Because when you've said no to something that you don't want, you will be gravitating to something you want.
Yes.
So, no is a very small word with a lot of power. And we human beings find it very difficult to say no at the place where it should be. We just drift along if we don't say no. Life just takes us any which way. When we say no, we take the power back. So, I think no is a very small word, but it's got a huge power.
And I think you said it very rightly. And I think when we don't practice it saying no, where it is required to say, we also lose ourselves in the process.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No is such an important word. Saying no to things we don't want.
Yeah.
For example, now, as I've said, I'm a trainer, so my calendar gets booked up a month in advance. Sometimes, if I just keep filling it, I wouldn't have the dates to give to more meaningful enterprises, endeavors. So I've got to learn to say no, even as any assignment might be very um, enticing. If it doesn't take me anywhere, I should have the capacity to say no so that I have that blank day for something more meaningful that I
Yeah.
can fill it with. So, no helps us make a choice.
Yes.
So, no is a very powerful word. And I've practiced it. I woke up one day and I realized, no, I don't want to do chemistry. I want to do English. I woke up one day and I realized, no, I now want to spread whatever I've learned. And so I got into training. So, no is a very, and it has been a powerful word for me.
Yeah. It's very small, but it's powerful. Okay. If you had a time machine, would you go back to teach in classroom 20 years ago or 20 years in the future?
Yes, I mean, I don't know, it might sound strange to you, but I'll go 20 years back.
Okay.
And my reason for going 20 years back is that I believe that since the past 30 years, we've messed up education badly, even if it may not sound correct. But what we did was, in our race to score marks and talk only about academics in schools, we let go of life skills.
Right.
We let go of competencies, the real learning. Real learning involves the three H's: head, hand, and heart. Somewhere we let go of heart, completely no hearts. That is why no life skills, no morals, no ethics, no competencies, nothing. And we limited the hand. So, no practical skills that the children learned, nothing. That was just done in tokenism when we talked about work experience or SUPW at a time when we
Yeah.
had. We only focused on head. So we have not even thinking machines. We churned out students who knew that there was a lot of stuff in books. So they knew all of that by heart. They had memorized it, put it to their head. But where is the heart? Where is the humanistic approach? Where are the skills? Where are the life skills? Critical thinking, creative thinking, emotional intelligence, problem solving skills, social and interpersonal skills, communication skills, self management. Those skills completely got lost. So I really want to go back 20 years and set all of this right
Put all these
so
things in
that we
place.
have better human beings and better citizens today. even as we have children who've qualified exams, gained degrees, have sterling careers. But we have individuals who are not satisfied, who are not mindful, who are not enjoying life.
Absolutely.
They are broken, they are wounded, they are shattered, and they are disturbed. So I would definitely want to go back not 20 years, but 30 years to start setting things right and bring in that human element back into education.
Okay. If you could turn any historical figure into school principal, what would you choose and why?
Historical figure. Even as I've said, if I talk about historical figure turning into school principal, the thought that comes to my mind is Gandhi.
Okay.
Yes, I definitely want him to be a school principal because I somewhere still identify with his thoughts, what he
Okay.
talked. I am not getting into the political angle of it,
Okay.
but the educational thought that he carried when he had talked about Bunyadi Shiksha, which was a lost cause. I would definitely want Gandhi to be a school principal. Furthermore, if I talk about then Carl Jung,
Okay.
the psychologist, with all his humanistic thought, would make a great school principal.
Okay. If you had to wear one color for a week, which one would it be?
Oh, yes. If I have to wear one color, and I've practiced it, mind you, for years altogether,
Wow.
white.
Why?
And I would invite children to just splash color on me. So, yes, I have worn white for I wore white continuously for good 4 5 years, every day. White is my favorite because it's an amalgamation of all colors. And definitely, I wouldn't mind going to a class where any child would scribble on me, splash color on me, and I would just love it.
Okay.
So, white would be my color.
That's interesting. If your phone could talk, what's the rudest thing it would say to you?
It would say, "Shut me down, Shivani." It would say, "Shut me
Shut
and go to sleep." So, yes, I already have the downtime activated on my phone. So,
Okay.
after 10 o'clock, my phone just shuts down and it doesn't wake up till 7 in the morning.
Okay.
So, I think the phone didn't tell me. It
Okay.
kept sending me the screen time and I realized it was increasing. So, I've just activated my downtime. So, I'm away from my phone from 10 to 7, which I've done this since the past 3 months or 4 months and I'm happy with it. So I listened to my phone, I think, when it was constantly sending me the screen time. It
Okay.
would definitely say, "Shut me off, give me rest."
Okay, let's have some rapid round questions. You like tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Okay. Chalk or whiteboard?
Chalk.
Mon-
And there's a reason, chalk.
Okay.
Because chalk spells physical proximity. Whiteboard would definitely be online. And trust me, we don't need online. Online is for adults who are driven.
Yes.
For school, and of course, it has proved that physical proximity is more important for school children. So, chalk.
Okay. You like Mondays or never ending Sundays?
Monday is any day. I have never been able to wrap my head around this Monday morning blue thing. Monday morning blues. No, Mondays is like I'm waiting for Monday on a Sunday evening.
Wow.
That another week to do something. Now, week starts, everyone will start, and I'm going to reach out to people and make a difference in my own small way. So, Monday is any day.
Okay. Your favorite junk food?
Yes, my favorite junk food is a strange junk food, which is a sub salad
Okay.
with mayo and honey onion. So, the junk is the mayo and honey onion in it, but it would definitely be a salad.
Okay.
Because I'm not a burger pizza person.
Okay.
But the mayo makes it enough junk food for me.
So you don't like burger or pizzas, or you literally avoid that?
I'll tell you, no, it's not that uh, I don't like, but I have been conditioned to eat healthy for so long. I've been
Okay.
practicing yoga since
Okay.
ages. So I've been conditioned to eat healthy for so long that I feel very guilty having consumed junk food. And after a bite or two, I lose interest.
Is that so?
Yes. Yes. I don't enjoy it as much because the habit has been far too ingrained in me. So when I'm going with my people, I would have a salad, and the equivalent of junk is that mayo on it.
Mm.
Another junk food that has been my favorite. I mean, I'm sure you wouldn't kill me for it. You wouldn't laugh at me. So I have two junk foods. One is dunking bread in coffee,
Okay.
which is actually coffee milk,
Hmm.
because it's a childhood thing,
Okay.
and dunking apologies in tea.
Okay.
So those are also junk foods for me, because the bread and the apology is a white flour, refined flour, but those are also my comfort foods. I just love them.
Okay. So, what's worse, slow Wi Fi or no coffee?
Oh, no coffee. No coffee
You're
is
a coffee
death.
person.
Yes, slow Wi-Fi any day. I've got enough patience to let that damaru go around and around and work its way out. But no coffee. If even if you tell me, ma'am, we just don't have coffee at this place, I would rethink my choices, because coffee makes me run.
Thank God this place has coffee.
Yeah. So slow Wi-Fi any day is okay, but no coffee is like I'm having stars in my eyes.
Blank out.
Yeah, coffee काफी है जीने के लिए.
Okay. Best stress reliever.
Best stress reliever for me is sleep.
Okay.
If my the wiring in my mind gets on a short fuse, I just let go and I take a nap. I've taken naps throughout my life after a meal in the daytime.
Wow, that's interesting.
So even at my work table, I would just zonk out for some 10, 15 minutes for a short nap. So sleep is actually a stress reliever. I believe, and I've practiced it. There's some subconscious work that still keeps happening when we sleep, and there's a lot of clarity when we wake up.
Yes.
So I have practical examples for it. When preparing for exams and all, I would get stuck at some question, and it's called sleeping over it. So when I would sleep over it, and invariably I would get up and I would have the answer. Sometimes mid sleep I would have the answer and I'll wake up, note it down. So sleep any day is the best. Nothing else. All others are short lived. Sleep is
Okay.
best stress reliever for anyone, I believe.
Most overrated food.
Yes, yes. Most overrated, even as I am into health foods and yoga and all, but I believe most overrated food is that Karela juice with Loki and everything put into it.
Mm.
It's very overrated. I've never tried it. I'm not inspired enough to try it. It's very overrated. Eat healthy throughout now. What will that one glass of Karela juice do to your system? There's no authenticating it. So it's very overrated according to me.
Okay. One thing you always forget.
I don't forget anything.
Seriously?
Yes. It's a very big statement to make. But of course, academics and all you would forget.
Yeah.
But talking about day-to-day things, I tell that I only forget if I want to forget. Otherwise, develop means to remember. There's a Google Calendar, there are reminders, there are charts. Why would you forget anything? Don't read the email if you want to remember it. So it will keep appearing as an unread ribbon. Put an unread dot next to a WhatsApp chat if you want to remember it, or pin it. So why would you forget things? So I only forget. I'll tell people that I forget only when I want to forget. And if I tell you that I've forgotten something, the message is that I really don't want to do it. So there are tools and ways and means. Why not polish them and use them?
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm not talking about, say, names of movies or actors or authors of books. That one tends to forget.
Mhm.
That's only rote.
Yes.
But in a day-to-day thing, one should develop tools and competencies to remember things.
Okay. So, you like books or Netflix?
I don't have Netflix because I'll tell you why. Because I want to safeguard my time of reading books. I just know that Netflix is so damn good and addictive that I don't have Netflix. I've never seen anything on Netflix. My phone doesn't have a Netflix app. My TV doesn't has Netflix, nothing. I don't have a Netflix or for that matter, Hotstar and Z, whatever, or Amazon. I don't
Nothing.
do that because the reading time is sacrosanct. I know they are very good. I know they are very addictive. So you kind of become a compulsive Netflix watcher.
Yes.
I cannot compromise my reading time. So no Netflix person. Books any day.
Wow. Okay. Then I should not ask you your favorite actor and movie.
Of course, I'm a
Yeah.
movie buff. I
Okay.
watch a lot of movies.
Where?
I watch on TV.
TV.
I go to cinema to
Cinemas.
watch.
Okay.
And I watch a lot of movies.
Okay.
And I have watched a lot of movies.
Okay.
Yes.
Who is your favorite actor?
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't want people to laugh. But my favorite actor is Richard Gere.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah. And so my favorite movie is Pretty Woman because it's the eternal, story of hope that you can always do things good, better.
It's also based on some novel, right?
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the actor.
And if you talk about female actor, I just love Meryl Streep. I just love her. And of course, if a light frothy film you want, so Devil Wears Prada is my favorite. I just love her in that.
Wow.
I think you can make out with my hair also
Yes.
that I love her in that.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Lovely. Okay. Any dialogue you want to share with us?
Yes.
Sure.
My favorite dialogue is, another thing that I'm sharing is Sholay also happens to be my favorite film, and I can recall every dialogue from Sholay. So my favorite dialogue is यूं तो मुझे ज़्यादा बात करने की आदत है नहीं.
Wow. Interesting. What would be your DJ name?
SG.
Oh, class. Epic.
उससे ज़्यादा दूर क्या जाना?
Okay. A word you overuse.
I don't overuse any word because I'm careful not to overuse and repeat myself or repeat words. So I don't overuse any word. But another, throughout the chat, the word that now I've started using a lot is listen.
Okay.
Listen. And that I use for myself. Listen. So listen keeps running in my head for myself. So I overuse it for myself. It wouldn't ever be overused. It's like use. So it keeps running here. Listen, Shivani, listen.
Okay. Funniest thing you have seen a student doing.
Oh, yes. I still remember this. And I'm never able to get up. So you see, when I was a vice principal and in my office, there was this big glass.
Okay.
And I still remember I must have been eating fruit someday, and there must have been a particularly big piece of fruit that I must have kept in my box, being too lazy to chop or whatever. So I just must have put it in my fork and I opened my mouth and I must have been stuffing. So one student must have seen me. And 3 days later, this girl gives me a card with my mouth open with a caricature of mine.
Okay.
And that card is still with me. And I just marveled at her originality. So that's the funniest thing I've seen a student do, that she observed me trying to stuff that piece of fruit in my mouth. That was a fun
I
thing.
can recall a poem stanza here. It was by Ogden Nash where he visited the dentist.
Yes. Ogden Nash.
Wide open.
Yeah. So, but I was surprised. And that day onward, for the next years and years when I was there, that glass remained. But I chopped the fruits smaller in the morning for my tiffin, that every time I'm eating a fruit, at least let me not stuff my mouth with a big fruit piece. Otherwise, another student would be passing by and noticing that.
And again, you'll marvel at her originality.
Yeah. So that was one funny thing that a student did. And I marveled at the observation.
Wow.
Students are smart.
Yes.
And they're so sweet. I mean, it was good.
Okay. One thing you cannot resist.
I cannot resist. You know, it keeps changing.
Okay.
Why I tell you is, I deliberately let go of my willpower at times. कि ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, अब इतनी एज हो गई है तो रेजिस्ट का क्या करना, लेट मी बी. बट यू नो, I've got a terrible sweet tooth. So it takes Herculean self-control to resist a piece of chocolate. And I just love chocolate. The darker, the better. So it takes a lot of power to resist. So my recipe for it is don't buy.
Okay.
So I've eliminated temptation so that I'm not required to resist. But had it been what I cannot resist, it would be chocolate.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very predictable and normal. So सबका ही है ये.
Okay. If you could replace your name for a day, what would it be?
Yes, that's interesting. I know it for sure for the simple reason that my name Shivani is after our authoress Gaura Pant Shivani, right? So I would want my name to be Gaura.
Gora.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Because I was named after her and I just love her writing. I read a lot of Shivani's books while growing up. So I would name myself Gaura.
Gora.
Yes.
Sounds very unique.
I love her
Different.
because that was her original name, Gaura Pant. I would
Okay.
like Gaura.
If your life had a warning label, what would it be?
Unpredictability overloaded.
Okay.
Yes, it would be definitely unpredictability because you know what? I am actually happy being unpredictable. I'm actually happy being unpredictable because I welcome so much unpredictability. I'm open to experiences and also crazy stuff here could be another line. So unpredictability overloaded or crazy stuff here. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. It could be a warning and it could be an invitation both. Yeah.
Okay. If you had to rename coffee,
Survival.
survival.
Yeah, survival.
Okay. One word to describe this podcast.
One word to describe this podcast. So yeah, actually it gave me a lot of opportunity to reflect and think. So insightful.
Insightful.
Yes. I just loved talking to you.
Thank you.
And it gave me an opportunity to think about what all I have done in these years, think about what holds meaning for me. So it has been insightful.
So it's time to wrap up this episode now. And what an incredible conversation it was. And the episode was packed with a lot of wisdom and humor from Shivani ma'am. And if you really like this episode, do subscribe to our channel, Voice of Leadership, for such inspiring stories. So we have got to know more about her. She's unpredictable, the things she cannot resist. She's a die-hard coffee lover. She wants to learn things, she wants to apply them, she wants to review them, and then she wants to unlearn. So very, amazing things she has shared with us. So I'm really excited. In fact, I was very excited when we started this episode, and now I'm just loaded with so many things because I've taken from her. And I mean, I really don't have words to express the kind of things she has shared with us. She's definitely unpredictable because the next time I'm going to meet her, she's definitely going to share a lot new stories with us. So thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so
ma'am.
much, Amita. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you, ma'am. My pleasure.